Hey everyone, this is your daily forecast for Sunday, April 23rd, 2017. I am East Coast Weather Association meteorologist Mike Griffith, and the story is the rain. However, most of the rain has been limited to the mountains here in the Western Carolinas, also Western Virginia, and it doesn't look like anywhere farther east has been affected. The rain has been locally up around this area and here, and it hasn't even really pushed east that much yet, other than this train of moisture that's been making it in the Hampton Roads, Virginia area. So as we go into the day on Sunday here, looks like continued off and on rain across Charlotte and even the Triad, but Hampton Roads, Virginia, including Norfolk and the peninsula here, even the southern tip of Delmarva, will start to experience some more steadier rainfall. Severe storms are a good possibility here across Atlanta, so take an eye to the sky there, especially during the early morning hours on Sunday. If you're heading out to church, watch the weather here in Atlanta. It is going to be nasty. Upstate of South Carolina, Greenville, Spartanburg, also other towns there in the upstate, maybe Clemson, getting some severe weather, some heavier rain. And that pretty much stays limited to the mountains. This area of low pressure starts to get organized here, which is going to eventually skate its way to the east here as we go during the day on Sunday. Again, most of the moisture stays up in the mountains, but then spreads east in the form of a front. And this is a strong wave that's going to ride along the front, and it's just going to kind of stall out and become an area of low pressure here. Heavier rains across Charlotte as we go into Sunday night, late Sunday night. Could get a nasty rumble and thunder here across the Piedmont, including Charlotte, and even down into Columbia here, South Carolina, as we go into the day on, into the middle of the night, Sunday night into Monday. Something we're going to have to watch here. Very heavy rains across the Carolinas, including some severe weather is possible, as forecasted on Thursday or Friday, I believe, that we did last week. So please make sure you follow us in advance for all the latest forecast information. Train of moisture works its way up early into the rush hour Monday morning. A messy commute there for Wilmington, North Carolina folks there. Also Charleston up in the Myrtle Beach. Very messy Monday morning here. Lots of flooding, probably going to be likely here across Myrtle Beach and even into the Wilmington area of North Carolina. That just stays there all throughout the day Monday. Area of low pressure tries to get formed there along the stalled out front along the coast, and it just throws up a lot of moisture up in the Raleigh, the Triad, eastern North Carolina. Showers making their way all the way up in the D.C. area. They're not going to be totally dry to start the week, especially Monday and the Tuesday. Even might make its way up to Philly, but we think it's going to be suppressed. And then Tuesday morning looks just like a wet one here across much of the state of Virginia, including D.C. and up into Philly, as we start the day out on Tuesday morning. Very soggy, wet weather here as we start the early work week across much of the East Coast. Looking further into the future here, as we look at the GFS model here, Wednesday, it looks like another piece of energy tries to dig well down into Texas. Unsettled weather for those folks there. And then as we go into the day on Thursday and even into Thursday evening here, cold front stalls out across much of the east here, all the way up into the north as well. Showers, thunderstorms could even be severe along the front here as we go into the south. And it looks like that ridge that we're forecasting, that heat wave by the end of next week, isn't going to be quite as strong right now. According to the latest GFS run, that ridge is not as pronounced here in the east as it was by a lot of other folks as we were heading into later next week. Now, as we go into Saturday, the ridge actually does become pronounced. Hot summer-like temperatures down here, especially in the southeast, might be making its way up into the north as we start to experience more like summer-like temperatures. Not so much the end of next week, but maybe next weekend is when the ridge starts to really take shape here. We're going to have to watch this piece of energy out here and see what it does, because it could be touching off a lot of severe weather here, especially in eastern Texas, as we go into next weekend. That is what is looking likely right now. Again, hot, but not later next week. We're looking at next weekend is when the heat's going to start to hit parts of the East Coast here. We're definitely looking at warmer temperatures here. Maybe not a heat wave, but if this ridge really amplifies and it gets to be bulky here, then we're going to start to really heat up as we go into next weekend. That's all for your daily forecast here for the East Coast. I'm East Coast Weather Association meteorologist Mike Griffith. Have a great Sunday, everybody.